Hello, this is Janelle Hardy, and hi, Carla. And I'd like to welcome everyone to Heninger Park Neighborhood's May 2021 meeting. We have Margarita with us, and Elisa with us, and Maricela with us, and Carla, I see. So I don't know who we're going to have speak first. Margarita, can you help me with that?
Sure. I also wanted to acknowledge we have a police department Corporal Velasquez who's joined also on the meeting as an attendee. So
Wonderful. Hello.
welcome Corporal Velasquez. Thank you for dropping in.
So maybe we'll just go right to our topic of emergency rental assistance programs. And I believe Maricela is going to talk to us about that. Can you please tell us about yourself, and then maybe we can go into our your presentation.
Marisa,
Yes.
before we do that, I forgot to Alyssa has some instructions for if we have any Spanish speakers
Okay.
to access the interpreting. So I forgot to mention that. Sorry.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to go over some instructions on how to participate for tonight. So you can use the raise your hand feature if you want to make a comment or if you want to get our attention, or you can ask a question in the Q&A box or the chat box. And then if there's anyone that's dialing in only, dial *9 to raise your hand, and then dial *6 to unmute yourself. We do have Spanish interpretation available. En esta junta sí vamos a tener interpretación en español. Si necesita interpretación para esta junta, por favor, escriban el chat sí, para que podamos darles la presentación en español. Gracias. Thank you.
So now we can go to Maricela.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Maricela Marquez. I represent the City of Santa Ana Community Development. I'm here tonight to talk to you about our COVID relief program, our emergency rental assistance. I want to start out by covering that we know that coronavirus has hit many Santa Ana families very hard. And the City of Santa Ana is responding to this need by providing rental assistance for our community. The assistance is provided for those that have been impacted by COVID-19. And I'm going to share with you some of the examples of what COVID-19 are. COVID-19 impact would be loss of income, increased out-of-pocket expenses directly related to COVID-19, loss of jobs, loss of income, childcare responsibilities, or health issues where you're having to stay at home to take care of someone elderly, someone impacted by COVID-19, and or childcare. A lot of people aren't able to go back to work because they have to take care of their children as the schools are still not fully opened. And of course, there's other circumstances that are related to COVID-19 that I'm not covering here. So anything that's impacted you by COVID-19 that's preventing you from your full income and making it very difficult for you to pay your rent. The program, to access the program, one of the first steps to access the assistance is by completing an application. An application is available online at santaana.org, Cares for Tenants. The application must be completed and submitted along with some documents, and I'll go over those with you. You must have a copy of a valid photo ID for each adult member in your family. You should also have the information of your landlord and or management company available as you begin to complete your application. You should also have a copy of your lease agreement and or a sublease agreement. And then also recommended is a declaration to the landlord stating that you will not be able to pay rent because you've been impacted by COVID-19. And the reason this is important is because this protects you. It protects you from being evicted. Other information that you'll be asked to provide will be some verification on your income. And those can be in the form of pay stubs, W-2, or other tax filings. Some people work and get paid cash, and so we request an attestation from an employer. So those are forms that you can prove your income. The way it works, the way the program works is that low-income renters who are struggling to pay the rent can apply to receive a one-time assistance in the form of $5,500 payment. We are working with 4 nonprofit organizations that are helping us process the applications. Those 4 nonprofits are Salvation Army, Catholic Charities, Latino Health Access, and Families Forward. The assistance first must be used to pay the rent owed from March 13th of last year to future rent, so it would be current rent. Once your application has been submitted and determined approved by one of these nonprofits, then your application is submitted to another organization called United Way, and they will be making the payment to your landlord on your behalf. Applications are selected by 2 main criteria. The first criteria in reviewing the applications is providing assistance to households that do not exceed 50% area median income. And then the second criteria is those applications that come first come, first serve basis. Applications are sorted once a week and distributed to the nonprofits until we run out of all the applications and or funds. To qualify, you must reside in the city of Santa Ana. Santa Ana residents must have a current lease or sublease agreement with the address showing on the lease agreement. The lease agreement doesn't have to be a formal lease agreement. We will work with you on a lease that is handwritten if you don't have a formal lease, as long as the lease establishes your residence, your name, the landlord's information, and is fully executed by both parties. If you don't have a lease agreement and you're not able to get your landlord to assist you in completing the lease, I know that can happen in some cases. We can take bank statements or stubs establishing rent payments. So some people pay by money order, other people can pay by Venmo. Anything that's establishing a rent payment, we can take that in. We can also take in a rental ledger showing proof of payment. Sometimes management companies provide balance statements, so we can take that in as well, and or written attestation from the landlord or owner saying that you do reside there, and some of the details as far as the rent and the names on the lease, that on the document that you would be providing. In addition to these documents, you'll also be asked to provide documentation to determine your income in your household. And some of those documents that you'll be asked to provide will be pay stubs, W-2s, wage statements or tax filings. Bank statements are also acceptable. If you have already participated in the program, because we've had 3 phases now, the first phase provided our rental assistance of $1,500 payment. Then the second phase provided $3,000. And now in this phase, we're providing $5,500. So if you participated and received $3,000 in the past, you may still be able to recertify your application and receive an additional payment of, say, $2,500. You don't need to reapply for the program. You would simply need to recertify some information, and you can work with the nonprofit to ensure that you submit that documentation, and they will provide assistance in filling out the recertification. So again, You do not need to fill out a new application. Applications are available at santa-ana.org/cares for tenants. Applications can also be directly requested from any of the nonprofits, which is Salvation Army, Catholic Charities, Latino Health Access, and Families Forward. If you do not have a computer or internet access and need assistance to submit an application, you're welcome to contact the Santa Ana Work Center by phone and make an appointment. The number there is 714-565-2600. And then, of course, an application can also be,
Maricela?
yes, yes, yes.
Margarita is asking if you could take a brief pause.
Oh, yes.
Are you?
Okay, Marisela, can you, I just wanted you to go back because there was some important information that I needed to interpret.
Oh, I'm
It had to
sorry.
do with, no, it's okay. It had to do with recertifying versus applying for
Reapplying?
the 5,500. So I was unclear if there's a cap of 5,500, because
It's
when
a
you were
cap.
saying,
Maximum.
okay, so let's go back there and I'm going to
Okay.
turn the interpreting again so you could just repeat it. I just want to make sure I'm accurate because
No worries. We're
Okay.
good.
okay.
So families who have received rental assistance in the first phase would be 1,500. That was the first phase. The second phase was an additional 1,500 for a maximum of 3,000. And in this phase, the maximum is 5,500. So if you've already received 1,500, you can still qualify for the maximum, which is 5,500. And if you've already participated twice and received 3,000, there's still $2,500 that you may qualify to receive. Okay. You don't have to reapply. You simply need to recertify. So we will use the old application that you originally submitted last year, and we'll work with that and we'll recertify you. We just have to work with the nonprofit organizations, which is Salvation Army, Catholic Charities, Latino Health Access, and Families Forward. Okay. I covered where you can access the application, which is at santa-ana.org/cares-for-tenants. You can also get applications at Salvation Army, Catholic Charities, Latino Health Access, and Families Forward. If you don't have access to a computer or internet access and you need assistance, you can contact the Work Center, Santa Ana's Work Center, at 714-565-2600. You can also call us and ask for an application, and we can mail you an application with return postage. If your landlord refuses to participate in the program, after 14 days of us reaching out to them, or actually United Way reaching out to make payment, United Way will then issue payment directly to you. One last point I'd like to make is that immigration status is not a requirement. And I am happy to take any questions you may have. That completes my information I have for you tonight.
Thank you, Maricela.
You're welcome.
Does anyone have questions? I guess you would just do it in the chat. Is that where you would ask a question?
Yeah, so if anyone wants to raise their hand and ask their question,
Oh,
you
yes.
can do that. Or yeah, if you guys
Perfect.
have any questions, type it in the chat box.
Thank you, Elisa.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions, Margarita? Does anybody?
So it does not look like there are any questions yet.
Oh, Carla has a question.
Okay.
Can you unmute yourself, Carla, please?
Yes, yes, I can. Thank you, Janelle. I was giving some space in case anyone has questions.
Perfect.
My concern is for the unlawful evictions or the that I've known where police, which I'm glad that the Santa Ana police person is with us, where the landlords have called police to evict people. And my understanding is that the police cannot help on evictions, that it should be a sheriff. But in instances where that does happen, um, who do we call, or how does the city help to protect the tenants who are being unlawfully evicted, especially during the moratorium and pandemic?
Carla, is that question for me or for the other person that's on here?
Either or, whoever has any support for the tenants, I'll take either or.
Okay, so I can start by saying that the city has, and I think you might be aware that we have also a SAFES program, and we're working in partnership with Salvation Army. We're taking a lot of the cases where people have an eviction notice, but I do know that they have been some unlawful um, evictions where people are just pushing people out because of lack of rent or whatever the reason may be. We've partnered with Public Law Center and we've partnered with Fair Housing. Other than that, that's pretty much all the programs. I know there's something else that the city's working on, but I don't have the details on that. I know that they're working on making sure that we access a list of possible evictions that are coming up so that we can be proactive in reaching those people prior to them being evicted. But that program is currently being worked on, so I don't have the details about that.
Hi, this is Corporal Velasquez. Hi, as far as the California state law, Governor Newsom has extended the moratorium until June 30th, 2021. As far as the Santa Ana Police Department, whenever we get dispatched to a call where, say, a landlord calls, says that he's trying to evict people, this is not a criminal matter. We tell them this is not something that the Santa Ana Police Department is going to handle for you, or we're not going to evict anybody. We might notice them and tell them the owner is giving you a 3-day notice or 30-day notice, which is in writing. That's as far as the Santa Ana Police Department's extent in any type of eviction. We tell the landlords they to the County Sheriff's Department and follow the requirement, and then have the sheriff, if they decide to do so, do the eviction process. As far as the Santa Ana Police Department, we do not do any of that.
Thank you, Corporal, and also thank you, Maricela. Corporal, could you please share with us the information to file, or the steps, the phone numbers, or the address of the office that we could go to file a complaint on the cases where the Santa Ana Police Department did help evict tenants?
Right, yes. Our address for the Santa Ana Police Department is our main station, 60 Civic Center Plaza, in the city of Santa Ana, zip code 92701. And if you feel that the police department overreached or overextended their services or their eviction rights, then yes, everybody has a right to file a formal grievance or complaint. And just so everybody knows, everything that we do is being recorded on body-worn cameras. So every officer, every interaction we have with any citizens or the matter or civil matter, most of these issues are, yes, and we'll go ahead and follow up with it.
I'm not sure if it's just my end, but I couldn't understand. I did get the file formal grievance and complaint, but I didn't hear a phone number or anything. It was chopped up a bit.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, well, the phone number is going to be to our station supervisor to file any grievance or complaints. It's going to be 714-245-8701.
Okay, thank you very much for that information. I'll share it on the chat as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Corporal Velasquez. Do we have any other questions? Maybe we'll move on to our other topic. And thank you, Maricela, very much for, that was a wonderful report, very detailed.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Thank you. So Margarita, were you going to report out about the COVID vaccine resources and the current tier level?
No worries, Margarita. Go ahead and finish up translating.
And I see that Corporal Velasquez has in the chat provided the phone number also. Thank you, Corporal Velasquez.
Okay. Alyssa, I made you interpreter, so. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. For those who are on the chat who speak Spanish, let us know so we know that, you know, we have people listening to the Spanish. You can send a chat message, a smile or a thumbs up on the chat box to the panelists to let us know that, you know, you're listening to the Spanish feature. And so I'm going to continue. We did have Daniel Soto confirmed, but he is out sick today. So what I am going to share is a presentation that the city manager made last night at the council meeting regarding COVID updates. So it's very current. And I think the important news is that Orange County is moving into the yellow tier. Woohoo, right? Woohoo. So that speaks volumes to where we were at a year ago, right? In Orange County, in Santa Ana, the rates you recall were very high, and it was just very challenging to be able to. I see something on the chat. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. So as I mentioned, we saw that the rates have improved. So that means that we're finally today, we are moving into the yellow tier, and that's great news. So we're following the guidance from the state where there's different direction on what to do next as we are preparing to reopen Santa Ana, reopen the county, reopen the state. So this is just the guidance that the state's provided. Face coverings are not required outdoors when you're attending, except when you're attending outdoor events, which are starting to happen. However, for unvaccinated people, you know, face coverings are required. Anytime there's any like physical distancing that cannot be maintained. And then obviously when you're inside your own home, you know, that's one of the things that face coverings continue to be required regardless of vaccination status. Again, this is outside of your home. Obviously, when you're in your home with your family members that you have been able to maintain your own pod, you could, you know, resume without the mask. But it's interesting because the county also has some other guidelines that have to do when you're around other people and you can't not stay 6 feet apart, use the face covering, wear the mask. But we do have clarification on, who's not required to wear the mask, and it's children under 2 years of age, anybody who has trouble breathing or just has just they're just absolutely cannot function using a face covering, and of course other medical conditions. Right now, the city still has the executive order that the city manager signed off of last year, which is all people within the city limits, regardless if you're outside, it doesn't matter where outside you are, the city wants you to wear your mask right now. And I'm sure that there will be changes as we transition into this reopening period. And of course, when you're within your household, inside your family pod that you've been able to maintain, you don't have to wear a mask. So we've seen over the past months, lots of more locations for vaccines to be arranged and available for our community. This is a picture of Santa Ana College. So the update is that a lot of these larger, they're called super sites, the super point of dispensation. That's what POD stands for, super POD sites. They're going to be closing beginning June 6th. So you may have seen more of a neighborhood level type of pod, mobile pod being coordinated with the county and some of the neighborhoods. I know that we had one at the Delhi Center on Sunday, and we're having another one in Santa Anita on June 1st, but you're seeing a little bit more of that. And we know that the school district, Santa Ana Unified, has continued to have vaccine locations, but the update is that these larger areas will be closing early next month. And as far as the data, the county has administered over 2.7 million vaccines. And this is as of earlier, a couple of weeks back. And so 700,000, these are first and second doses, have been distributed since April. And that's when all of the Orange County, the adult workers, became eligible. So that's great news. And we also have data from the healthcare agency that let us know that 1.2 million people in the county have been fully vaccinated. So that's great news. That's helping all of us with this effort. So you probably heard in the news, the latest regarding the Pfizer vaccine is that it's now authorized for use for youth ages 12 to 15. And that was as of a few weeks ago. And that decision was made by the FDA, knowing that there are some benefits having young individuals vaccinated. So one example is that the Santa Anita one that the neighborhood's been working on will be available to ages 12 and up, and it's the Pfizer vaccine, and that'll be at Russell Elementary School. We still have the city's COVID hotline available to take calls. Alyssa, I don't know if you can enter that on the chat. That way people can have the number available as a takeaway from tonight's meeting. And as you recall, the city manager signed off of different executive orders last year. And so these are the ones that are active. So Carla, I think you had brought up about the moratorium on evictions. This is for both residential and commercial tenants. That executive order is active through the end of June 30th, and that's per the state. I think Corporal Velasquez also mentioned that. The other active executive order is the 6-month extension on different land use and planning approvals. So that one goes through the end of December. And then, as we're preparing for this reopening at the state level, and if according to the state, it ends this statewide emergency that was called, then the following executive orders will also end. And so that has to do with the water and service shutoffs and late fees. That'll end. And then the citywide mask requirement will end again if come June 15th, the state ends this statewide emergency situation. And then this is just a summary of the expired executive orders that were passed last year. So there's been a number of different actions that the city took. And then including the outdoor dining. This is something that staff saw benefit in continuing the program and currently evaluating, like, what are the impacts of having more opportunities for outdoor dining on private property. So that's going to be discussed further along. And then we have questions. So I apologize. I probably didn't present it so nicely like the city manager did last night, but we just wanted to share, some details that people are really concerned about because of all the misinformation. We just wanted to let you know where the city is coming from and things we're doing to gear up for reopening. I know one thing that's relevant to our program is the question that we get about when are we going to have in-person meetings again. We've lost that opportunity to connect with people and safely. And so that's one thing that we are looking at, connecting back with the school district to be able to have in-person neighborhood meetings. We're looking for possibly like August, once the school session starts again. That is a goal that we have. So, but it takes some legwork to communicate and plan all of this with the school district office, but we think that we can get there. So at this point, I'll take any questions that people may have. If you would like to raise your hand or you have a comment. And Janelle or Carla, if you want to add your perspective coming from the neighborhoods about this information, about reopening and.
Well, I'm happy that you clarified that we do still need to wear a mask in Santa Ana outside wherever we go. I know my husband got stopped at the gas station, I think, just in between getting out of the car and grabbing his mask. He was like reprimanded. Oh, you need to have your mask on, and he pulled it out of his pocket. But yes.
Oh, wow.
So, but as you're hearing different information, sometimes you think you don't need to have one, but right now we do. Is that the case,
Yes,
Margarita?
that is right
Everywhere in
now.
Santa Ana that we're outside. Okay, great. So let's hope that June 15th, everything will open up.
And we do have a question from, let's see, a teacher at Franklin. Anita, you raised your hand and then you lowered your hand. So I just wanted to, if you wanted to contribute anything, like any updates or your perspective as a teacher.
I think I read the kiddos are going back on August 16th. Somewhere around there. I might have that.
Yes. Yeah. So the school, our understanding, and Anita could help clarify that the school will resume in-person instruction in August, like at the start time for this next school year. Okay, we have Sergio Enriquez. Go ahead, Sergio. Okay, so Anita has clarified students will be back on August 16th. Very good. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so Sergio Enriquez, go ahead.
Yes, hi. I don't know if you guys can see me or not, but thank you for having me in this meeting. I'm one of the police commanders here at the police department. I'm a graveyard shift watch commander. So I apologize for joining the meeting late, but here I am to answer any.
So just so you know, this is Corporal Velasquez. I've been here throughout the whole meeting, just information.
Okay. So let's see you, Commander Enriquez. Okay, very
All right.
good. Great
How's
to see you.
it?
And then we have, yeah, Corporal Velasquez. Okay. So did you want to share anything regarding the city reopening or the state reopening from PD's perspective?
I'm going to defer to Corporal Velasquez on that one. Corporal Velasquez, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
So the only thing that I could share is that our downtown district, since they were allowed to have the outside dining, that's pretty much where we're having meetings as far as, since the city and the whole state's going to reopen, we might have to cancel the outside dining and have everybody go back to normal operating courses of business. That's the only update I have as far as the upcoming.
Okay, excellent. We also have an announcement that was shared on the chat from Erika Benavides, who's at Franklin School, that SAUSD has a vaccine clinic this Monday, May 24th at Segerstrom High School from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. for anybody 12 and up. So thank you. That's very important information. Okay, if there are any other questions from the team, if not, Janelle, we can continue on the agenda, or if the police, Commander Enriquez or Corporal Velasquez, if there are any updates you wanted to provide. I mean, thank you for joining in. I
Yes,
know this is a
thank you.
priority for
Welcome.
the chief. Yeah.
Absolutely. I just want to, don't believe many of you know me, but as a watch commander, I'm here to serve you from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m., Wednesday through Friday and every other Saturday. So if there's any patrol related questions or field operations related questions, I'm happy to field those questions and provide you with any answers with respect to that.
Well, that's good to know, Commander, that we have a watch commander during those hours. That's great.
We do, and I'm also, I'll put it out there, I'm also a resident of Santa Ana. So not only am I one of your watch commanders, but I'm also one of your neighbors.
Wonderful.
So I see things a little differently, so to speak.
So does anyone have questions for the commander? Now's the time.
I'm here for you, so this is your time.
And if you want to share your phone number.
Sure, it's going to be 714-245-8700. That's the watch commander's office, and that is a line that is staffed 24/7. And if a watch commander is not in here, if he or she's not in here at that time, there is a corporal that he or she works with on all shifts that will pick up that line. So it's a line that will always be picked up.
It's 245-8700. That's the number. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just dropped it in the chat, so we have that number.
I have a question, Commander Enriquez. Can you give a definition of what a watch commander does, or?
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to help you with that. So as a watch commander, so the rank structure with your police department here for field operations is going to be that of an officer at the beginning, followed by a corporal, then a sergeant, then a commander is the commander for the entire shift. So for me, what I have leadership of is a total of 8 sergeants, about 8 corporals, and probably about a good 40 officers between watch 2 and watch 3. So my role is really as a mentor, a developer, but also as a resource, not only to our officers, but to our community as well. So I look after the officers, I look after the corporals and help them develop. I look after our sergeants and provide them with any help that they need. So while they're handling their calls for service out in the field or handling any critical incidents, I'm here as a go-to, but my responsibility is really someone who takes care of the community, as someone who the community can call on, and then certainly for the officers and be able to bridge those two together.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Did we have a question?
Did we have somebody on the chat? Sorry, I think he said 245-8701. Oh, can you repeat that, Commander Enriquez? I'm gonna call you Sergio. No, Commander Enriquez.
Actually, as your neighbor, I actually prefer Sergio. So if we could go with Sergio, I'm happy with that.
Okay,
So,
so is it 8701 or 8700?
they're actually both good. So 8701 will go to the station supervisor, who's my assistant. And then the watch commander's line is 8700. So both those numbers are good numbers.
Okay. Thank you, Gloria,
go.
for paying close attention and asking that question.
Yes.
That's great. And we could now see, and Gloria's with Franklin Elementary. So thank you, Gloria.
Thank you.
And we now see Corporal Velasquez. So we know how he looks like
Oh,
too.
welcome.
All right, Janelle, so back to you.
Okay, so do we have something else in the chat, or is that just okay, I see. All right, so I think now we can just kind of go down to a couple of announcements, wind the meeting down. I do want to give congratulations to our most beautiful yard winner, Heninger Park's 2021 Most Beautiful Yard sign will go to 307 South Broadway. And there will be a virtual awards presentation on June 24th. So usually they're done in person, but in accordance with the times, it'll be virtual, and the recipient will receive a nice yard sign for the year. So everyone that drives by will know that they have won the Most Beautiful Yard competition. And I think this year there was emphasis on drought tolerant front yards. So, and in this case, the recipient does have a drought tolerant plantings that are quite mature now and blooming this year, I think. So congratulations again. And then I guess we're winding down. We can announce that our next meeting, we usually go dark during the summer and then meet again in September. And Marguerite is telling us that we might be able to meet at Heninger Elementary School again on September 15th. And we'll go ahead and block out our meeting dates with the school, and hopefully that will be the case. So maybe Zoom will become a thing of the past. So enjoy it while we can. So does anybody else have anything that they want to talk about or announce? Do you, Carla? Do you have any does anybody have any topics they want to get penciled in for our September meeting to discuss or learn about?
I just wanted to share one thing. I know that it's great that we were able to kick off and promote the Most Beautiful Yard. It's one of several recognition programs that the city has. And so we look forward to rolling out the Neighborhood Hero Award, and that's to recognize the phenomenal work that residents in a neighborhood are doing to make a difference and really make a positive impact for the neighborhood. So we plan to roll that out in the fall, and we hope to have an in-person, celebration, at least to recognize a lot of people who are doing great work, especially during the COVID. It's been quite a challenge, but to have that opportunity to receive entries, and to award it, and I would work with the Comlink board to do that. So we're excited about that. And we do have one of our Comlink board members on the call, Terry McCall. Hi, Terry.
Oh, hi, Terry.
I clicked on his name and it moved up. So, but anyway, Terry is on the board of Comlink, and they represent all the different neighborhood associations, and they'll actually be meeting next week. And since we have our police friends here, one of the topics that will be shared at the Comlink meeting, it has to do with fireworks, with the, what is the plan for 4th of July? Because things get really busy here in Santa Ana. So I think we have Commander Marty scheduled for that one.
I can speak to that briefly. We are
Sure.
planning for that, and you're right. Commander Joseph Marty will be handling the action for that, how we'll be moving forward. But we will be absolutely addressing that, just as we did in years past. As you know, as you all know, as I certainly know as a resident, this is an active time of the year for us, right? But we will be addressing that just as we've done in the years past.
Okay, great.
Good to know.
Real quick, could I just
Yeah.
share the fireworks, SAPD fireworks tip line? So anybody could report any form of fireworks, usually, if you know a specific location that's most important, selling fireworks. That's going to be very important. If you could give details, of course, if you don't want to provide much information, you could remain anonymous. The phone number is going to be 714
You're cutting off.
8771. That's legal fireworks.
Can you repeat that?
It's going to
The
be,
number again?
yes, it's going to be 714-245-8771.
8771. Okay. Okay. I don't have anything else, Janelle, so I'll turn
Thank
it to
you.
you. Oh, Carla does? Okay, go ahead, Carla.
Yes, I think some of the items that are still pending are an update on Main Street. In regards to I don't know what the city called it, if it was beautification of Main Street.
You
Oh,
mean
the Public
the
Works.
South Main improvements? You want an update on that project?
Yes,
Okay.
also in regards to the general plan, because I know it's going to be submitted soon, and the general plan has not been updated for more than 20 years. I haven't heard or seen any community meetings in regards to seeing an updated draft or really like a study from the community to understand what the general plan is, including the housing element. And I know like housing is a human right, and it's a hot topic in Santa Ana, especially now that the moratorium is ending and a lot of people are going to be in danger of being evicted. And I know that the housing element is also due by October, but as well, I haven't seen any community meetings or convening to discuss the draft or what's in the works. And lastly, in regards to the environmental justice as well, an update.
Yes. So I can speak a little bit about the environmental justice update. So Alyssa and I are part of the general plan team, and we have had, we're having our 10th community forum next Wednesday. So all of these meetings have been very, very helpful. They've all brought up different concerns and recommendations, like policies that the city should incorporate as part of the process. And so we still have a survey out, and that's another way of getting information. We have it in 4 languages now. Actually, the Cambodian community contacted us and they requested to have that. So we were able to provide it in the 4 languages. So we're going to collect that information. Also, the comments that each community forum has shared, that information will also be reviewed and seen how it could be tied to a policy or an action. so that by the time it gets updated, that draft will not be what you saw late last year or 20 plus years ago. It's actually been close to 40 years. It's been quite a while. We had our last general plan updated. So there's like different moving parts, but yeah, I think Carla, once the comments, all of that is collected and tied into what could be recommended as a policy or action, that is the opportunity that you and Janelle and others who've been at the forefront of all of this to be able to look at a draft and to understand, okay, this is, where the city is including my comment, or this is where this ties into some of the other priorities that we heard from the other groups that were at the table and who were connected to the virtual forums. So that will go out there, and later this year, I know that the timeline is to have that approved by the council, probably in the fall or late in the fall. So that's where we're at. The other policy that's just as important is the housing element. And thank you, Carla, for sharing just the risk right now, the concerns for families who've been, directly affected by the moratoriums and them stopping, at the end of June, and what's going to be at stake. So I know that our director is talking to or informing our council about kicking off this housing element process. And so, yeah, there will be opportunities to have those discussions and seeing what policies, what programs with regards to housing need to be included, reshaped, eliminated, introduced. So there's going to be that opportunity in June for sure to start kicking that off. Yeah, and then I think that covered. Yeah, there's a lot of information on the general plan on the page. Maybe Alyssa, you could share the web page. So we have information like on the surveys for each of the community forums that we've had in starting from late March through, well, even after next week. The PowerPoints, the video links are included. So you can even, you wanted to see what happened, let's say at Monday's Madison Park Neighborhood virtual forum, you could be able to click on that and watch it yourself to look at a lot of the different input that some of the neighbors were sharing. So thank you. Thanks for that question. Okay, Janelle. And then Carla, on the South Main, I don't know if I'll check with Public Works, because what they've been doing is they've been having a meeting to present at all the neighborhoods like they were doing every month since December. So I'll check with Public Works to see if that's something that we can have probably before your September meeting.
I think they're starting. I think I've seen some lane closures,
Yes.
some signs. I think they're starting. I don't know what phase they're in. I think they were like doing trenching first. But yeah, it's gonna be a process for anybody that travels South Main. I don't
Yes.
know. It's not gonna be our quick way to the beach anymore for a while.
Mm,
So,
thank you.
so and then I guess you pulled in the environmental justice update with the general plan kind of thing, Margarita. Yeah.
Yes, just we want to make sure we get as many people completing the surveys. So even the team at Franklin School who's on this call, we really appreciate whatever assistance you can do to have parents complete the survey. It's in Spanish also, like mentioned earlier. So we just really want to, make a push to get more surveys completed by the deadline so that we can continue the next step, which is see where people, what they ranked as their priority and try to fold that into some of the policies and the actions that we were
And so
talking
then
about.
maybe there'll be some kind of announcement as to the results, because I know I heard
Yes.
that they've ditched the scorecard situation because they were discovered that was sort of being it had already kind of been done at a state level or
Yeah,
something. They were doing
yes.
scorecards and yeah.
Yeah,
But
we
we're
were,
still kind of
go ahead. Go ahead, Janelle.
still wondering, kind of what it all means. Like, okay, folks are still kind of wanting to pinpoint just exactly where these environmental justice, some of the environmental issues, where they're coming from and what it is and what it's all about. And I'm not sure we're going to get those answers, like,
Yeah,
but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
and there's a lot of agencies involved in environmental justice, from the AQMD. I mean, there's just a number of them, and some neighborhoods are more impacted than others because they're directly across the street from an industrial business, and there's like a different agency for polluting business who has a cleanup plan, and that also gets communicated to property owners and residents in the immediate area. So there's a lot that we're also learning. But I think one of the goals is that, and we've announced this in some of our other meetings, where we want to have like a page, an environmental resource, page, so that you're not having to call and search the internet to find multiple agencies to find out, hey, what is going on with this business, and it was permitted, by AQMD. And so we want to be able to have kind of like a one-stop page, so that residents can learn more about environmental justice, but also the different permitting that agencies have, or if there's other industries that have to do some cleanup plans. Let's say there was groundwater contamination, like some businesses near the Delhi Center. Residents being able to go to this page to find out will help at least have it in one place, so that it's complicated, it's confusing. And so I think the more that we can break it down so that residents know where to go to at least, understand what businesses are near my community and what kind of permits do they have. So it's definitely going to be a continued effort to be able to understand it and work through it together with you all, because that's really helped us a lot,
Great,
just to be able
thank you.
to
We're all on
do
a
that.
learning curve with that.
Yes, we are.
Thank you, Margarita.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking if there aren't any other questions or comments, maybe we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting.
Sure. Thank you, everybody, for
Thank you.
Thank
connecting
you, everyone, for
tonight.
joining.
We'll
Thank
see you
you
at the
all.
next one.
Thank you.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Good
Yeah.
night.